The Elks camp came from a dream, and we didn't understand the dream, so what we did was we had to go through the sweat lodge and ceremonial ways to understand what our guidance would be toward the future. And we ended up going fasting on a hill and going through the sun dance. And we used the sweat lodge to pray and help us with our guidance so that we would understand what the dream way meant. So then our guidance came to do quill work. So from then, the quill work, we learned that we should pray while we're doing this so that the people who wore our work in the powwows could be happy and we'll be able to do things for our children and help them to be happy as little ones and to give them something in the future that needs to be carried on. We have use modern dyes today, and these give us a lot of different colors in our quill work, and it helps us to not do the same thing over and over again. So a lot of our quill work is inspirational, and it helps us to be creative. We get a lot of colors like fire colors or the peyote style colors from the spiritual sense. And a lot of the quill work that we make, modern day, contemporary, barrettes, earrings, keychains. We even decorate the drumsticks. And so by doing this, we help our people and we pray that they'll be happy with the things that they get from what we're doing. And a lot of people have dreams and they come to us and talk to us about them. And so they want special designs on things. And so we try to do this. We make things and we give them away. And sometimes we get paid for it. But a lot of our products, well, they're one-time things. The old style of quilling and the old dyes and the old styles, well, we try to hang on to those and use those for the ceremonial ways, like the Sundance leaders' pieces and moccasins, and comparison to the beading wallet, it lasts just as long as the beadwork. So the things that we're doing, we hope today in the modern world that this is going to make things better. We start out with the porcupine and we pull all the hair out of it and we separate the hair and then we pull the quills after we separate the hair, and from there it's a real long process doing all of this, so there's thousands of quills that we go through every day. The large quills we use for embroidery and sewing down on leather, and the medium quills we use for wrapping, like on medicine wheels and pipe bags, and the smaller quills we use to do the plating or decorating of pipe stems. The dyes are the modern day dyes in the stores today, and then we get into the different techniques of quilling. So this one here is an embroidery style. We use a artificial sinew, and we have to use 2 needles with this process here, so sewing down the quill one at a time and getting it ready to decorate the little bag, well, takes time, so we have to take the needle through the bottom of the bag, and each one quill at a time always. We take it and we fold it back and forth, and there's different styles of stitching that we use with the threads and the needles, and the one that I use on this particular kind of quill work is called a back stitch, and that is you take your needle and thread and you run your stitch backwards, and so it tacks down the quill a lot better, and it makes it so you can't hardly see any of your stitching as you go along. This method here takes a long time, so you have to have a lot of patience when you work this style of quilling, and it's gives you beautiful designs when you get done, especially with the color combinations that you have, that you want to, maybe you think about, or you've seen pictures of, or you dreamed of, or as you go along. Well, this is the kind of work that not too many people do this, so our efforts is to show and to hope that this old style of art form is being carried on and will continue on through, not only through us, but through our children. So then we go on to the wrapping, and this style is used in several things, several different ways. Sometimes you wrap a rawhide for your pipe stems, or for the bottoms of your pipe bags, and it's real simple. It's, as you can see here, this is, you start out with one end, you fold the quill down, you flatten the quill between your teeth, and then you start wrapping it around the rawhide. And when you get to the end, then you grab another quill and you cross it underneath the other one, and you fold it down, and you fold the other quill over the top of that one, and then you start your wrapping again. This too, it's a time-consuming way of working, but as you go along, while you get better and you get faster, and you start using more ingenuity and as you go along, so you can put a lot of different designs in your work. Now, as you go along with the quill work, you're going to learn that there's the other method here that we're going to use is called plating, and this here is designed our own version of plating, and we use like a thread and a some boards that we put together for a loom, and you tie the bottom piece down. You put your thread on it real tight. I've seen one method where they didn't have a loom or anything. They just took the two pieces of sinew and they wrapped it around the pipe stem, and as they went along they did the plaiting without even a loom, but they just plaited the quillwork right onto the pipe stem without even. It was real simple, and it was like on the artist, it was effortless piece that he was doing. So after you get this thread wrapped around your loom, you tie it down, you secure it, and you set it up so that you start flattening your quills, getting your quills ready. I usually just take the quills in my mouth and flatten it with my fingernails, but there's other methods of flattening it. They have maybe a horn or a rib that they use to flatten the quills. But for me, it's easier just to take a quill and flatten it between my teeth and my fingernails. We're ready to start the braiding. This is called plaiting. You just take your quill and you put it between your thread, fold it over, and you just start from there. You weave it back and forth. And it's real easy. You just keep weaving back and forth. Until you take and you make a big long string so that you've got maybe one or two wraps around a pipe stem or something. And you measure how long your wrap is so that you'll know how much plaiting you have to do to get one wrap. And then from there you just keep measuring and measuring until you come up with the design. So there's a lot that goes with this plaiting when you want to make designs, and it takes a long time. Sometimes I spend 2-3 days doing a pipe stem. This is the plaiting method right here. Or you could call it weaving if you want to. I decorated a tomahawk handle with this style here. And I decorated a knife handle. And the people that got them, they really liked it. So that's part of our wishes.
The art of quill embroidery is distinctively Native American. The quills used were largely from the porcupine, although bird quills were also used, especially in the northern regions. Moose hair, colored grass, and dyed corn husks also closely resembled porcupine quills, and when used in a similar way, are difficult to distinguish from quills. Quill embroidery was practiced throughout most of the habitat of the porcupine, from southern Alaska across the northern forests of Nova Scotia, dipping south of either edge of the plains along the Rocky Mountains and in the area of the Great Lakes. In much of the plains area, including most of North and South Dakota, porcupines were not native and quills had to be obtained by trade or by journeys to the Black Hills, the heartland of the Teton Territory. The Dakota tribes of this area developed a high degree of the extensive elaboration of quill embroidery on their clothing and certain personal possessions. Designs often came to quill workers through dreams and were thought of as personal property not to be copied.
Dreams we receive in our lives helps us. We go to our ceremonial ways to get our guidance, and through the prayer ways of the sweat lodge, we ask God to help us so we can walk on Mother Earth in a good way. With the help of God, we want to bring back this old art form. Patience, creative thought, and prayer go with the work of quilling. From the visions and suffering of our fastings, we get help. We become a better person that in modern day society we become warriors. Warriors that are going to be an example to our children and to the people all over the world. Today, this is what we're trying to do as we walk in life. We need extra help to accomplish this. So we have to go through our Sundance and through sincere prayer and suffering for our people. God helps us in our lives to follow His plan. As we go along in life, we can sing and dance and be happy. We can walk on the earth with our families, children, and relatives, and be good examples for them to remember. Through the ways of the elk and quillwork, the elk's teeth that we wear on our costumes and dresses, we begin to understand our purpose in life. Hopefully, the quillwork is going to enrich the powwows, the singers, the dancers, and we'll be able to have a lot of good feelings from our giveaways, because we try to give away our quillwork and to share this rich gift that God had given to us. And everybody can see by our example and the things that we're doing in life to hang on to our traditional and cultural ways will benefit many, many people who see the things that we're doing by example. And we can always see the smiling faces from our people and the happiness as they go along in life, knowing that someone's trying to hang on to the things that have made our nation the good and proud people that we are.